Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. I hope you are having a great day. In today's stories, am I the idiot for ruining my cousin's wedding? I'm going to try to keep it brief, because I genuinely feel like I'm being gaslighted by everyone. But also maybe I'm not seeing my own role in this situation. In uni, I had a very brief sort of relationship with a guy on my course. I ended it because I felt like I needed to learn independence. I've never lived on my own. My mom and dad coddled me and paid for my expenses, cooked for me, did my laundry, etc. He was looking to settle down and I really wasn't. I wanted to learn to be on my own for a bit and he wanted to marry someone he could take care of. We went our separate ways, finished uni, got jobs, etc. My cousin got married the other day. This guy I was previously talking to attended with his wife. She also attended our uni and was on the same course. I wasn't really fussed by seeing them. They've clearly moved on and I'm loving life right now, having that independence I've been wanting. It's all chill, until his wife comes up to our table. She asked me why she didn't see me at graduation. For context, I didn't attend our graduation ceremony because both my grandmothers had passed away and it was their funeral. I didn't really care about missing graduation because I've got horrible social anxiety anyway, and the thought of being seen by that many people freaked me out. Then she asked about my career. I told her that I'm teaching now and I love it. Small pleasantries, you get it, but she randomly veered the conversation in a different direction. She's like, my husband doesn't care about you anymore. I wasn't bothered at all, because over the few years since we were together, I started to see just how toxic he was. He was controlling and he wanted me to ask his permission before seeing my own friends. I was not looking to start an argument at my cousin's wedding, so I walked away from them and sat at my other cousin's table. I don't know how, but she found me again at some other point of the reception and it got weird. She was saying things like, "You are so jealous of us, you skipped graduation because you didn't want to see us together." I didn't even know they were together, but I didn't bother explaining myself. It would have been pointless as she'd already made up her mind about me. I just nodded along as she ranted to me, but as you'd expect, it started to take attention away from the wedding. I decided it would probably be best to go home, so I gave my gifts and left. But my cousin messaged me a few days later, angry at me for starting fights at the wedding. I told her I wasn't looking for any fights and that girl had approached me every single time, but she told me it was my fault for leading him on in the first place. F that. I explained it was a very long time ago. I was only 19 at the time and I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with my life, let alone commit to marrying a guy. Am I being dumb or is this actually my fault? Did I ruin the wedding? There's more I want to include, but this post is limited. OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the a-hole. 1. Arguing at the wedding. 2. Taking attention away from the wedding. OP also give us more info in the comments. Is your cousin friends with the other girl? 'Cause it seems like she's taking sides when she should be mad at the other girl for starting shit at her wedding. Yeah, they're friends, but I didn't know that until after the wedding. The wife is friends with my cousin. We all grew up in the same town and went to university in our hometown. That's why I waited until after university to get my independence. I just lived at home with my parents while studying. What is wrong with these people? I'd be very firm with everyone who had something to say. I attended my cousin's wedding and my ex's new wife behaved like an unhinged lunatic following me around. It became so uncomfortable. I had to leave because SHE was causing a scene. I have nothing to apologize for. I did point this out to my cousin, but she's still upset with me and says I probably should not have attended. But I didn't even know they were going to attend, or that they were even married. Did your cousin invite you? She invited my parents, but they couldn't make it so they asked me to go instead. In our culture it's considered rude if I don't attend on my parents' behalf. Did she know you were attending on your parents' behalf ahead of time? Yes, my parents already rang her mom to explain they couldn't make it, but I was attending for them. I think maybe my cousin was upset that I left. But would she rather I just grin and bear it? She's just trying to protect her friend, I think. No, she is just being a jerk. I think his wife protests too much. I'd put money down that you're the one who got away. I'd speak to your cousin and see what story she's spinning. My guess is that she is saying you were following them around, and she was protecting her hubby. Maybe, to be honest, I might just leave it. I'm not a fan of drama and I hardly ever see my cousin anyway. If she wants to think bad of me, that's her prerogative. I'm more insulted that she'd think I'd even want this attention on me, when she knows how uncomfortable it makes me. Well, who knows what the ex told his wife? There could also have been sorts of lies made up. Well, I have heard from other people we mutually know, who have said he has complained about me to them, saying I was leading him on. I don't know, I don't trust people in this town though. Even if only 50% of what you've relayed is true, unless you did a whole lot more than nod and tried to disappear into the crowd. And you're kinda drowning in a sea of a-holes right now. I just get really shy when people talk to me in a confrontational way. I'm quite introverted, so I tend to just leave a situation if it ever becomes too tense. Maybe I should have explained myself more, but I didn't think I needed to. Exactly how did this exchange take attention away from the wedding? Was she screaming? Waving her arms around? Making such a fuss that people stopped talking? A hush fell over the room and everyone looked at the pair of you to see what was going on. It was more like the way she was talking to me. It's well known in my family I'm quite shy, and don't really talk much with people I'm unfamiliar with. And the way she was in my face just probably looked strange to everyone, so it naturally made heads turn. Then another comment asked, "Why did you not tell her the first time she brought up the graduation?" I don't owe her an explanation for why I didn't go to graduation. We weren't even friends and I can't force someone to listen to me. Also, I wasn't at the wedding very long. The first time she came up to me was maybe half an hour into the reception. The second time was an hour later, when I was with my other cousin. I left maybe a couple minutes into that interaction as I was very anxious. And I think that would have made the situation worse. She clearly was already upset that I had some sort of connection to her husband. If I tried to talk to him, she would have interpreted it in a weird way. OP also tell more about her relationship with her ex. We broke up 3 years ago. I didn't even think about it until I saw them at the wedding. It's just weird, the whole situation, but I'm gonna choose not to think about it anymore. Shouldn't your cousin realize that this person is making up lies, when she's saying you skipped graduation because you were jealous of her and ex being together? And the real reason you missed it was for your grandmother's funeral. Because she could put together that your grandmother did die. And was this grandmother related to the bride also? She did know about the deaths, but I don't think she knew it was when my graduation was supposed to be. Our families aren't that close. And now you probably know why your families are not close. Cousin sounds like a real piece of, work. I've always wondered why our parents weren't close, but anytime I ask my mom and dad they just say it's adult stuff. I'm guessing the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. F these people. I don't know if your cousin was given the wrong information, or if she just doesn't like you, but it's not your fault that your ex-boyfriend's crazy wife hunted you down at your cousin's wedding to start a fight about the fact that he doesn't want you anymore. So what? You don't want him either. She needs to get over it, she married him. If she's jealous of you, or if she thinks they're only together because you dumped him, that's not your problem. So no OP, you're not the idiot here. But your cousin is, and of course your ex's wife clearly is also. So maybe that's why they're friends, lol. And what about you guys? What would you do if it was you in the wedding? And what about her cousin? Would you try to keep justifying yourselves? Or do you think it's better to just go no contact altogether? Don't forget to leave your thoughts down below. Now let's see what the comments say before we go to the update. Sounds like neither your ex and wife, nor your cousin were actually mature enough to get married. Not the idiot. Not the idiot, I am always curious about the type of behavior the wife was showing. Kind of like, even if you said, yes, you're jealous and you want him back. What's her game plan? Does she want to give him back? What was she hoping to achieve? Good point. I'm not sure what she gets from me saying I'm jealous. Maybe it's a pride thing? Maybe it's a crazy thing. Not the idiot. You actually did the mature thing. The wife was determined to have a fight with you, so you removed yourself from the situation before she escalated it any further. Like you said, she approached you every time. And your cousin is being unreasonable, for making it your fault for saying that your actions, years ago, started this. She definitely had it built up as something in her mind. The fact that she even noticed and remembers that you weren't at graduation all those years ago, shows she's had a whole narrative in her head. I assume you two weren't friends back in uni, so the only way she would notice that you weren't at the graduation, is if she was looking for her new boyfriend's ex-girlfriend. My guess is your ex told her a different story about your breakup. Not the idiot. Sounds like the new wife is insecure and taking it out on you. And your cousin is mad that she wasn't the center of attention as much as she wanted to be, but can't easily take it out on the wife, so she's taking it out on you too. You've got some dramatic people in your life, but you're not the problem. OP also share. I have actually been debating whether to try and defend myself a bit. I've had some time to think about it, and honestly it seems like the sensible thing to do. I might not attend family events like this very often, so it won't have much of an effect on me, but my parents do. I think resolving these misunderstandings will just be easier for them too. Generally speaking though, other extended family members haven't gotten involved or mentioned anything to me, so I don't think it's something that has or will spread. Maybe I'll provide an update if there is a decent outcome. If not, I'll probably just leave it at this. And what did you guys think of the comments? Do you agree with them? What else would you advise OP to do? Don't forget to leave your opinions down below. And apparently, it seems like OP will try to talk to her cousin, but will this conversation have any positive effect on her side? We'll see in the update. Update: am I the idiot for ruining my cousin's wedding? I did end up contacting my cousin after reading through the comments on the original post. I waited a while because she was enjoying her honeymoon. It went better than I expected, to be honest. She did start off by explaining that she was upset at the wedding, because she felt flustered about having people fighting at her wedding. It was her instinct to stick up for her friend. I mentioned in the comments that my cousin and I aren't very close, so it might sound strange that she'd opt to defend her friend over me, but it makes sense to me and I'm not mad about it. We pretty much squashed it and agreed that it would be better for the sake of our families, to just agree there are no hard feelings and what happened, happened. Just to make life easier for events like this in the future. I don't think about it anymore. Most of my reaction to the situation came from everything happening so publicly. Once I was out of the situation, and had time to cool down a bit, it stopped bothering me. I wanted to clear some things up too. Some of you were confused why I would be shocked that the wife found me during the reception. I forget that white weddings are so small. There were between 700 to 1,000 people at this wedding, and like 70 to 80 tables, not including the bride and groom's table. It was a pretty big venue, and my cousin's table, that I sat at, was tucked away in the corner. Speaking of, some of you were wondering why the cousin I sat with didn't say anything. She's like me in that sense. Getting involved just makes the situation worse, as we've seen with our parents, aunts, and uncles. And no, it wasn't a situation where the entirety of the hall stopped and watched. It was more of a situation where the few people around us were watching the situation go down. There were still people dancing, going to all the carts serving different foods, etc. Also, I don't know what side of the story his wife knows, nor do I care to know. It happened 3 years ago. I realize my account of this may be biased, so I take accountability for that. I think naturally we tend to only see situations from our own point of view. Well, I'm glad that at least you and your cousin reached an understanding. Or something like that, at least for your parents' sake. Since, as you said, you don't really care what your family thinks of you, so I'm glad you came to an understanding. But I'm not gonna lie, I wish you had found out what the wife thinks happened between you and your ex. If he told her the same thing, as you say it happens, or if she created a crazy narrative in her head, because if it's the latter, she needs professional help. And what did you guys think of this update? Do you think OP did the right thing by talking to her cousin? And by letting things stay as they are? Do you think that's what she should have done? Or do you think she should have pursued what the wife really thinks happened between the OP and her ex in the past? Don't forget to leave your comments down below. Now let's go to the next story. Oh, and I hope you are enjoying the video so far. If so, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notifications to know when a new video is out. Now let's go to the next story. Am I the idiot for banning my sister's boyfriend from our apartment? Please help, because I really feel like I'm being made out to be crazy. I, 27, female, share an apartment with my sister, 19, female. Let me preface this by saying that I am the only one on our lease, since she is not old enough. Our complex says you have to be 21, so right now she pays less than half the rent in exchange to stay here, which is around $400 out of $955. She doesn't pay for anything else, bills, utilities, etc. 2 weeks ago, after having an argument with our mother and I, over not helping pay for other utilities, cleaning up messes, generally being a not great roommate, my sister left the apartment and went to visit her boyfriend, 19, male, at the bakery where he works. He and I have had disagreements in the past about him smoking, not tobacco, in our apartment, which puts me at risk for eviction, and over him leaving messes and trash around when he comes to visit, where he normally stays for a few days at a time. After this disagreement, however, I received a text from him after midnight, telling me that I needed to call him to talk. I didn't answer, because I was upset, and I'm not the one to be confrontational, especially when I'm not calm. He arrived at my apartment with my sister. It was after 1 a.m. at this point. I was in bed, lights off, in pajamas, when he began pounding on my door. Before I even answered, he opened it and was in my room, yelling at me about letting my mom come between me and my sister. What the F? Who the hell does he think he is? I was already shaken at that point. My door doesn't lock, so I was already very caught off guard, and I was scared. I told him that it was something between my mom, my sister, and myself, not him. He stormed into my room and tossed his key that my sister had given to him onto my nightstand, told me to have a nice effing life, and slammed my door shut again before I could even answer. Once again, what the hell is wrong with this man? I told my sister I didn't feel comfortable with him coming to our apartment anymore. It's been a week, and she and I just had our first fight about it tonight. I held my ground and said I didn't want him over. She says I'm irrational and being selfish, and that I'm destroying her mental health by banning him. But I really don't feel comfortable, and technically, and legally, it is my apartment. Am I the idiot? OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the a-hole. 1. I banned my sister's boyfriend from our apartment. 2. I might be the a-hole if I took it further than I should've. OP also gives more info in the comments. 1. Why doesn't your door lock? That needs to be fixed immediately. 2. Why does he have a key if the door doesn't lock? And 3. He's way too aggressive and entitled, she can visit him at his place. For some reason, my bedroom doesn't have one. It's the master, and my bathroom has one, but not my bedroom door handle. Hers does, but up until now it hasn't been much of an issue. I can't replace the hardware, but I think I'm going to look into one of those portable locks, regardless of what happens. And he had a key because my sister got one made for him, which she had mentioned to me briefly that she was thinking about it, and I said that I wasn't comfortable. But when he would stay the night, and she and I would both leave for work, he would stay behind and have no way to lock the door behind him. That was her reasoning after I confronted her. Jesus, that man should have never had a key to your apartment, no matter what reason your sister made up in her mind. OP continues to share more info with us in the comments. I appreciate everyone's comments. It's definitely reassuring to know that I'm not the one being irrational. She moved in with me at 17 because she kind of acted the same way, not with a boyfriend, but with not helping, making a mess, gaslighting and etc. with my mom, and my mom had enough. So I let her move in with me, and my mom went to Florida. She was visiting when we had the talk that spurred it all. The biggest issues are that it's going to be astronomically difficult to afford the apartment on my own if I make her leave. And she's still my sister. I still love her. I told her I wouldn't just abandon her or throw her out on the street, but I know she'd either have to move in with her dad, almost an hour away, because she can't afford a place of her own. I guess I'm just feeling torn between giving in, so I know she'll be safe and housed, or standing my ground and being another person that turned their back on her. Wow, it's really frustrating to hear that you're letting your sister stay with you to help her out, but she's not contributing to the household chores at all, and on top of that, her boyfriend has the audacity to barge into your room and yell at you? And she thinks that it's no big deal? What the hell? If I were your sister and a guy I was dating invaded my sister's room and acted like he did towards you, I would kick him out not only from my home, but from my life. Also, you are not turning your back on your sister, she seems to be turning her back on you, in addition to being very ungrateful towards you, for welcoming her. Don't feel guilty, OP, you're doing what's best for you, and you banishing a person who makes you feel threatened in your own home is the minimum you should do. Oh, and even if he returned the key, change the locks. As far as we know, he could have made copies. You can't trust a person like this. And please, whatever is your decision regarding your sister, put a lock on your bedroom door. And I think it's completely justified for you to ask both of them to leave. I don't know how is your mother's relationship with your sister or her boyfriend, but it's evident that he has no respect for you, your space, or your home. It's important to stand your ground and not allow this behavior to continue. You're definitely not in the wrong here. Not the idiot. And what do you guys think of this situation? What would you do if you were OP? Would you also had kicked the guy out of your apartment if you were OP? Now let's read what the comments say before going to the updates. Not the idiot. A man storms into your bedroom, your safe space, in the middle of the night screaming at you? He wouldn't be allowed in my home either. Can we also talk about just kicking sister out? Sounds like she needs to learn some life lessons. Not the idiot. Your sister gave him a key? I'd seriously be thinking about kicking her out as well. Not the idiot. He's never allowed back. Not ever, no matter what. Not the idiot. Do not put your living arrangements at risk for your sister's relationship. Do not expect a 19-year-old to be mature enough to understand the situation. More so, the dude acted aggressive, so he needs to stay away. You are not the maid or their parent to pay their bills. You did more than enough for your sister until now. She is a young adult and does not need to rely on you for financial support or house chores. She can either comply or pack her stuff and move in with the boyfriend so they can be lazy bags together. Agree. Tell your sister she either accepts your rules or moves out. And change the locks just in case. Warn your sister if her boyfriend gets a key again, she'll recover her things from the street after you change the locks on her. Not the idiot. Forgot to add, send the boyfriend a text that you don't want him ever in your apartment again, and if he dares step foot in your house you will call the police. Not the idiot, your sister's boyfriend needs to apologize and sounds like a jerk. He's lucky you didn't call the police and get a restraining order. If your sister doesn't like it, she can move out. Her BF is getting in the middle of something that doesn't concern him. Not the idiot, and I would have filed a restraining order when he did that. That's just nuts. I was prepared to say that you were the idiot, because it is her apartment as well, but his actions make it so you aren't. And what do you think of the comments? Do you agree with what they say? Do you have any other advice to give the OP? If so, don't forget to leave it in the comments down below. Now let's go to the update. Update. Thank you to everyone that commented. It really made me feel heard and understood in the ways I needed to. I ended up telling my sister she needed to stay with her dad for a few days, while I thought about what needed to be done, and that if her boyfriend showed up at any point, whether I was there or not, that I would call the police, as it was considered trespassing. I don't think she expected that, and I think it really drove home the fact that she really might get kicked out over this boy and that, for once, I wasn't going to roll over. After 3 days, she asked if she could come over to talk and apologize. I allowed it. She apologized, said that she'd pack his things at our apartment and give them to him at work, and that he wouldn't come over again. I pointed out the fact that we've never really had an argument where I've put down a hard boundary and kept it, and when I finally did, she acted like a brat. So I made sure to address that she's been selfish, by accusing me of hurting her mental health, while ignoring mine. For now, she is allowed to stay with me again, but she and I are both looking for separate apartments. My lease is up in July, so at least I have time to look. Again, thank you everyone. This was a huge wake-up call, and I'm going to try and be more assertive about my own safety and well-being from now on. Sending lots of love. Good, it looks like OP's sister came to her senses and decided to apologize, respect her sister's decisions, and maybe put an end to the relationship with her problematic boyfriend. But it looks like people warned OP that her sister's behavior may have been just an act, even though from this update, it seems like things are better between them, or maybe not. So let's go to the next update and see how things are going. Second update. You were all right. She snuck him in while I was at work. Oh God. Got a really weird feeling in my stomach when I got home, probably the first time I've ever had such strong instincts, and checked my Ring camera. They tried blocking it, but I have 2 very clear shots of him walking in the door and walking back out about 2 hours later. I told my sister to get out. She's not the least bit apologetic. I very strongly suggested that she needs to stay with her grandpa until she can find somewhere to go, and I think I must have reached my limit, because I don't even feel anything anymore. Good. Last night I was so mad and upset that I was shaking and that my legs felt like jelly. Today I just don't feel anything. Thank you all for your reassurance and condolences and support. I owe all of you a hug. I'm so sorry you're going through this, OP, for your sister lying to you, and even more so, not caring how much this lie can damage the relationship between you two. I think you're doing the right thing. You guys need some space from each other, and you really don't need to deal with this type of stuff, especially from someone who doesn't respect you. And now let's go to the final update. Final update. I am out of the apartment. Though I didn't anticipate moving in with my dad at 27, I finally went against my mom and my sister and told them I was done. I packed up my things and left. I've been living at my dad's house for a week, and he said I'm welcome to stay until I find an apartment I can afford, which I'm actively looking for, and my sister kept the apartment. Last we spoke, her new roommate has a boyfriend who is disrespectful, messy, and verbally aggressive to her and her boyfriend. Narcissistic, doesn't respect her boundaries, sounds kind of familiar. I'm not saying karma is real, but it's really ironic. Thanks again to everyone helping to reassure me I'm not crazy. It feels like a small step backwards, but hopefully it'll lead to bigger steps forward in the future. Well, I'm sorry you had to leave your apartment sooner than you expected, OP, and thank God for Dad's help, but at least that problem doesn't belong to you anymore. And LOL, karma is really biting her in the ass with the new roommate's boyfriend situation. It wouldn't surprise me at all if she calls you, begging you to come back, LOL. I hope that in the future, she realizes what an idiot she and her BF were with you, and that you can have a healthy relationship with your sister and mother. But until then, keep these toxic people out of your life. Good luck, OP. And that's it for today, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it. If so, Go watch the video that is appearing on the screen right now or click on one of our playlists that are in the description to watch more videos. Until next time.